Hey everybody, Steve Foster here with Creekside Custom. Here's an assembly video for our brand new adjustable carbon fiber race buttstock. Inside the package you'll find a couple things, and I'm going to show you how to put it all together. The first thing we have here is an adjustable carbon fiber weaved cheek rest. I'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a minute. We've got an AR15 buffer tube clamp, so that's something that we designed. And we've got the lower clamp for the 25 millimeter carbon fiber tubes. We've got an adjustable rounded butt pad that articulates up and down and side to side. We'll give you the option if you want to run it with just aluminum. It's pretty coarse and pretty aggressive on your shoulder, but I prefer this is a rubber material that we had made. So if you use like a Weatherby shotgun, same type of material and butt pad there, and we'll end up mounting it on here. There's also a couple of other things that are included with these carbon fiber tubes. To give us just a little bit more adjustment, there's a longer one and there's a shorter one. And I've already installed the two the plugs, the Crazy Ivan plugs that go on each one. So you can choose if you want the longer one or the smaller one. If you run your stock kind of short, you're going to want the smaller one. So we'll come back to those here in just a minute. Then we'll have various bags of hardware and washers, and we'll use that here in the demonstration or the assembly video. There's a 2.5 millimeter Allen head wrench, and then we've got a 3 millimeter Allen head wrench, so you'll have everything to put it together. One of the things that we are going to walk through that's not included in this race stock setup is a Milspec AR buffer tube, and this comes most ARs or the Crazy Ivan chassis take an AR buffer tube and use it on here. One of the reasons why we have this buttstock is if you want your PCC to feel just like your Crazy Ivan chassis, you want that same feel, same adjustment. So if I pick up my AR15 or my AR9 and I compare that to the Crazy Ivan chassis that I'm shooting my 1022s in, they feel exactly the same, so you can adjust them the same. And we'll walk through some of the adjustment as we go. All right. Before we get started with the rest of the assembly, if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comments or reach out to us on our contact form, and then let's get going. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do, it's a pretty tight fit, so you may have to spread the bottom of the clamp just a little bit, and then we're going to put the buffer tube into the clamp just like this. And so it should just about fit. If not, just spread the bottom of the clamp just a little bit and I'll slide right on. Typically where I install these is about here, and certainly once you get going, you can put additional, you can move it up further, you can make some adjustments after the fact. All right, so I've got a bag here with some screws and some nuts. We'll dump those out. Hopefully we don't have any walk across the table while we're putting this stuff together. And then there's 4 places where we're going to put the screws through or the bolts through, and then we've got a mechanism in here that locks the nut in place. So as an example, we're going to put this one on the top. We'll put that one on top. We're going to try to be bold, and we're going to try to do 2 at once. So place your fingers on there, or you can put a piece of tape on there, and then you just slide these screws through here. And of course it's going to go really, really smooth because we're on video. And then you can just lightly tighten those up. Not too much. If you do, you won't be able to get your tube in. So we're ready to go there. All right. Easy peasy, as the kids say. I run a shorter buffer tube, or a shorter stock. But let's use the longer one for the purpose of this video because it may be easier to see. And so in the bottom here, all this tube does is it goes right in there. And so typically it should squeeze right in there because we haven't put any tension on it. And so for the bottom 2, we're going to do the same thing that we just did. We're going to put these 2 little nuts in there. We're going to flip it over with our fingers right in place. And we haven't lost a nut yet during installation, so we're moving right along. And then here you can put a little bit of tension on these, and as you get going, you can really torque these things down because we don't want this to move whatsoever. All right, so as I get these going, I take the long end and tighten that baby up just a little bit, and then I'll tighten these up just a little bit. I'm going to tighten this one up just a little bit. And so we haven't really tightened them up that tight, and you can't move the buffer tube at all, the clamp at all. But you can really, because we use a thick carbon fiber on here. I'm not going to say you can bear down as much as you want, but you could probably bear down on it just about as much as what you want. You want to get it snug to make sure that nothing moves, and you'll do one more fitment once you put it together to make sure you've got everything in place. All right, we haven't lost any bolts, screws, Allen heads. We haven't thrown any tools yet, so we're rolling right along. Now this one here, we're going to tighten up a little bit more than the other one, but let me show you this. This just slides right on top of here. And same thing with this other clamp. You're going to have to spread it just a little bit and get it to slide on. And once you get it to slide on, you're going to want to check at some point to make sure that these things are all lined up. We got the cool Creekside Custom logo on there, and we've got the lighting slots that look just like the comp chassis. And we're going to put a couple of bolts and nuts on this real quick. So we'll start with the top one. Whoops. We'll start with the top one. We'll put a couple in here. Put a couple in here. And then of all the ones that you're going to want to really tighten down, this is the one that you have to tighten the most, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute, but we'll get this thing squared away. All right, see, I had to talk about it. I lost a nut, but we'll get it back. Did I say I lost one? I lost two. Put those back on there. All right, my wife says I got a disability with my fat fingers, and she's right when it comes to installing things and little screws and nuts. All right, just enough to get the nut started. Same thing on this one. And we'll come back to you here in just a moment. All right, we're gonna leave this for just a moment, and I'm gonna show you, and I'm gonna put these last two bolts and nuts together. So here's the adjustable piece that's going to end up going in. It's going to go right in here, and I'll show you that here in a second. Before we marry that up, we want to mount this rubber type butt plate to here, and then we'll screw these things in here, and then we'll give you some adjustment. All right. So there's another bag that's got 3 washers. They're the smaller washers, and the smaller cap head bolts just like this. And this one here, you can see this area, it's threaded in 3 different places, and that matches up to these 3. So what you do is you just overlay it, and it should be perfect on top of there. Then you're going to match it up, and the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to drop one of those little washers inside that hole. I'm going to follow that up with one of these little bolts, another little washer. I just slide them in just like that. Put that little guy in there, get that started. And then I'm going to take that last one, I'm just going to slide it in there, and then get this one started. At least I think I got that one started. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if we got it pretty close, and I'm going to push down just a little bit to get it in there and see if it started to thread itself. All right, so just pulled a little bit, and I've started the threads on that one, and I'm going to do that for these other ones. Sometimes if that one's just a little bit lower, you got to pull this one just a little bit to make sure that we got it in there all the way. I gotta push that baby in. I think I got the washer sideways in there. We'll see. I think I got it. Let's. Yeah, I think I got the washer in there sideways. Let me look. Oh, there it is. See it sticking out? And then if you get in that situation where it's not going through, just go ahead and push it. Yeah, I knew it. I got the washer in there sideways. Oops. Pull the washer out and let's back that thing back out, and then we'll put it back in there. I thought I got it just a little bit off to the side. We're going to slide that one back in there so it should go in directly. And then it goes in just like that. Then we can push it through, and then you can see it starting to come through the bottom. And then we'll try to line that up the best we can to the area where it's threaded. And you should feel it just grab and see how it's pretty flush there. And then we've got that going. So we've got 2 points where it's threaded in there, and we'll take this middle one, and then it should just sit right down in there, and put your fingers on each side to make sure that it's flush to the mount or to the butt plate. And then with these, since it's got a bit of give to it, really what you want to do is just finger tight is all you need. As soon as you feel some resistance, you're just about there. If you torque down on it too much, you'll end up pulling through the material, and that's not what we need to do. So again, it's just one of those things that you want it to be secure on there, and then finger tight. And we'll check this last one. And then that one's finger tight. So here you go. So that's the butt plate with the butt pad. Now with this one here, we're gonna mount this inside. I may need to bring it out of view for just a minute because I need to take it, because it's a really precision fit, and then be able to slide it in. Yeah, there it goes. Let's see if we can see it on camera. You're gonna line up, that hole with that hole right there. All right. So see that hole through? It'll make more sense when we go to adjust it. And then we're gonna live on the dangerous side again. We're gonna put the nuts on the back, 2 fingers, or use a piece of like Scotch tape. And then we're gonna put this one through here. Give me 1 second. I think it moved just a little bit on me. Yeah, I should be lined up now. Just had to line up the holes. And this one here, again, just make sure that you get them started. That one started. And then this one will articulate. I'll show you here in a second. I just want those finger tight. All right. So this here, this whole thing can move back and forth. And then this is the range of adjustment for the buttstock. So it depends on how you want to can them. I end up running them a little bit more like this, not quite all the way, but just up a little bit. So that's typically how I run mine. But if you want it a little bit more flat, that's fine. And the purpose of this is, I know this is an installation video or assembly video, but the purpose of this is to match the contour of your shoulder. And a lot of people that are buying this product are competitive or professional shooters. And one of the pet peeves that I have as a shooter is this material on the back is not grippy without ruining your jersey. And you'd be surprised how much this really grips into your jersey without compromising it, and the gun doesn't move. So if that's the case, we're gonna turn to the short end, get just a little bit more adjustment. And this one here doesn't have to be, you don't have to torque it down until it's snug. And there is an optional thing you can do with all these nuts and bolts, is to put just a little dash of 242 Loctite if you want to make sure that they're not going to go anywhere. The ones on this stock setup, because this one pinches up here, this one pinches up here, and this thing is rock solid. These pinch down here, but these two, you're gonna put enough torque on it to really draw that in just a little bit to make sure it doesn't move off the buffer tube, okay? So, or yeah, the little carbon fiber tube underneath. So these ones here, you can put quite a bit of pressure on it to the point that it doesn't move on here. And I just make them snug, and then make sure it's kind of like when you install a tire on a car. You just want to make sure that you alternate bolts and nuts, because these here probably loosened up just a little bit because that's a little bit more snug. And again, you just want to make sure that those are snug. And so this thing, it's not moving anywhere. Probably run a truck over that bad boy. And that's one of my pet peeves with using an adjustable buttstock. Something that's like this is we don't want anything to move. All right. So the last but certainly not least aspect of the setup that we have is the carbon fiber adjustable cheek rests. Okay, so before I get to assembly, let me tell you a little bit about this. I know I'm not on camera, you can see my wonderful hands, is this angle that we've created right there. This angle, for most people, if you put your palm of your hand on your chin and then you move your index fingers to your cheekbone, and I know some of you watching this video are already doing that, it makes an angle. And for most people, guess what? That's the angle that it makes, so we want it ergonomic. We did make this cheek riser kind of long because we wanted to make sure that, you know, once you get it installed, there's probably not a ton of adjustment. There's a lot of height adjustment on the cheek riser. Most people will run it pretty darn low, but for most people, if you're running iron sights or something like that, you can adjust it up and down. Or if you want a really high riser with some PCCs, you may want a riser on your iron sights or on your optic. If you use the Crazy Ivan chassis, most part you don't have to run a riser, but that gives you an option, a couple different options, because we want the adjustability. Let me open up this last packet of hardware, and you're gonna have four washers, and then you're gonna have four of these cap type rounded head fasteners. So all you're gonna do is you're gonna put the washer underneath the fastener, and then you're gonna put them in this top hole, and you can screw it with your finger to get them started. And then we're going to do that for this one as well. All right, I can't see anything. All right, let's see. And then this is where your 2.5 millimeter one comes in. And then you can get those pretty snug as well. That's why we've got the washer there, so you don't mar up the carbon fiber. You could use a lock washer. There's a different type of washer on here, just by some chance if it ends up moving on you. But you do want this pretty firm. And again, if you want to make sure this stuff doesn't move, use some 242 Loctite, and you'll be in good shape. And then over here on this side, you guessed it, we're going to rinse and repeat. And then you're going to bring, if you're going to use Loctite at some point in time, you've got 15 to 30 minutes to make sure that whatever adjustment you have, make sure that you make it within that period of time, or you're going to have to take it apart and then reapply some Loctite as well. So preferably, when you do this, make sure that you have your gun ready. and you do several movements of the gun off your shoulder to make sure that you got the cheek riser adjusted right where you want it. And then you also make sure that you've got this piece adjusted where you want it. So this is the finished product. Of course, there's a gun on this side, an AR15 or a chassis. So what you're going to want to do as you bring it up to your shoulder, you're going to want to make sure that everything's in line. What I would start with is actually the adjustment here. For me, I take this and I actually can it out this way about 5 degrees. And most people do the same thing just because of where the where this buttstock reaches everybody. And then if you're going to, this can be out just a little bit further to make sure that it doesn't impede it. But if you're going to make some sort of adjustment to the length of pull here, loosen up these, and you can actually reach the you can reach those screws on the bolts on the inside through it. So you can loosen that up and move it this way, that way, or tilt it that direction. So this is the brand new carbon fiber adjustable buttstock, which is available out on creeksidecustom.com. So if you have any questions, reach out to us, and hope you like this product as much as I do. Won a world championship shooting this stock when we had a prototype, but yeah, it's absolutely I love it. So hopefully you love it too. Take care, everybody, and let us know if you got any questions. Thanks.